It's going to be the most important day and period in the history of our country.
Oh, boy. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my channel, Modern Renaissance Man. I am Ty Smith. I thank every last one of you guys for taking time out of your evening to tune in to these videos that I post, and I really do appreciate you for doing it. Make sure you follow me on all the platforms you see listed above and below, all right? Appreciate it. And also, hitting this right here will allow my videos to be circulated within the YouTube algorithm. It doesn't mean you like my videos. It doesn't mean you like me. It means you want my content to consistently be recommended to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you have been following my channel, you see that I posted a video a few hours ago regarding Fani Willis getting a huge smack in the face, while at the same time probably feeling like she's still just in it for the fight because they're keeping her on the case, but it's not probably going to have anything to do with getting any type of resolve probably till next year, honestly. Probably till next year. Yeah, you heard me, which means it's going to be far after the election. All right, so anyway, what it is now is that now you guys are going to see what President Trump's reaction to the overall decision that was made in the Fani Willis case against him. And he sat down with one of the people he seemed to like to talk to a lot, which is Hannity. Without further ado, here we go.
We just have breaking news, as I mentioned in my open tonight, and I want to get your reaction to the fact that the appeals court has now stopped your Georgia case, election case, while appeal on Willis's disqualification is pending. This is on the heels of Florida Judge Eileen Cannon looking into whether or not the prosecutor, Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, was pointed in an inappropriate way, which would render the case and the indictments out completely. That is going to take place in fairly short order. A lot can change in a couple of days with only 152 days out of an election.
And what we call him deranged Jack Smith, because you look at his career, he's been overturned by the Supreme Court unanimously, so many other things. He goes too far. Let
me ask you this. You had said something during the trial in New York. Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges was one thing that you said, and you turned out to be right. And secondly, you were asked about the possibility that Judge Merchan might send you to jail. You said something that really kind of got my attention. What did you say? That it didn't faze you in the sense that if that's what it takes, you don't have to be doing this. You could be playing golf every day and you probably wouldn't be charged with anything.
Well, I think I say it about almost all of these cases that are brought against me. They are doing it for the purposes of hurting a political opponent of Biden and trying to get him to win, and he's the worst president in the history of our country. But in the case that you're talking about, I said very strongly that I'm very proud to fight for our Constitution, and if that's what it takes, everybody said, this is such a minor thing. You don't go to jail for this, all of them. But you don't understand what we're dealing against, Sean. We're dealing against a system that is so corrupt. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. I did nothing wrong in any of these things. I did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong at all. And when you look at the analysts, whether it's Greg Jarrett or Andy McCarthy or Jonathan Turley or your friend, the great one, Mark Levin, Dershowitz, all of them, they said there's no case here. Judge Jeanine was so incredible 2 weeks ago. She was unbelievable. Angry. She was angry. And you know why they're angry? Because they love our country and they see what's happening. It's totally unconstitutional what they've done. And if you look at the statements made by the people I just mentioned, and I'm not friends with any, I mean, I think they respect what I've done. They might respect me. They might not respect me. But they said there's no case. It shouldn't have been brought. And the way the judge charged the jury, told the jury, gave jury instructions, nobody's ever heard anything like that.
It was basically, when you break it down, a records-keeping issue on a misdemeanor whose statute of limitations had run out, that they upcharged into a felony on a federal election, and that raises another issue of appeal. What will be your
appeal? By the way, when you say records-keeping, you know what the record-keeping was? They charged an election, if you look, a lawyer's fee, a legal fee, and you call it a legal expense. It's known. You call a legal fee a legal expense. The bookkeeper, who I never spoke to, correctly wrote a legal expense for a lawyer that was paid.
We have a similar case. Hillary Clinton funneled money to a law firm, and that law firm hired an op research firm, and that op research firm hired a guy by Christopher Steele. That became the basis of what I described as the dirty Russian misinformation dossier. That became the basis of not one but 4 FISA applications, and it all turned out not to be true. So in that case, well, nobody was charged. Nobody was charged with top secret classified information. Her home wasn't raided on her server. Deleted subpoenaed emails, 30,000 of them. We didn't hear a bleach bit. Then you have all the people that signed off on those warrants. Nothing happens to them. Joe Biden, 4 locations, top secret documents. Nobody raided his house. That, I guess we've added a new word to our lexicon, and that is lawfare, or weaponization of justice.
That's right.
My question to you is, and people are saying, actually because of an interview we did together, you said, I would be dictator for the day and just to secure the border and drill for oil. I thought it was tongue-in-cheek. I was sitting there with you. However, my question is a very serious one. You know, people are claiming you want retribution. People are claiming you want what has happened to you done to Democrats. Would you do that ever?
Look, what's happened to me has never happened in this country before. And it has to stop because...
Wait a minute. I want to hear that again. It has to stop.
Well, it does have to stop because we're not going to have a country
And if you're
anymore.
elected, what does that mean? Define that.
Look, what I've gone through, nobody's ever gone through. I'm a very legitimate person. I built a great business. Everything's been... I have been under siege. Nobody's ever seen anything like this in this country. Now, in other countries, in other third world countries, or banana republics, as they say, a banana republic, we've become a banana republic. At the border, we've become a banana republic. With so many other elements of our country, we've become a banana republic. You take a look at what's happening with inflation. That's a banana republic inflation, what we have. I think it could be as high as 50% if you add everything in. When you start adding energy prices in, when you start adding interest rates, which have gone from 2% to 9 and 10%.
But focus on those that want people to believe that you want retribution, that you will use the system of justice to go after your political enemies.
So, number one, they're wrong. It has to stop because otherwise we're not going to have a country. Look, when this election is over, based on what they've done, I would have every right to go after them. And it's easy because it's Joe Biden. And you see all the criminality, all of the money that's going into the family and him, all of this money from China, from Russia, from Ukraine. During one of the interviews, I said, what about the $3.5 million paid to the Biden family from the mayor of Moscow's wife? What about that? And Chris Wallace defended him, said, you can't ask that question. Well, then it turned out to be a big deal long after that debate. That was one of the debates. And it turned out to be a big deal. And Chris Wallace said, we can't go there because we don't know that it should turn out to be true. Millions and millions of dollars. Now,
by the way, he had dinner with her at the Cafe Milano. And he said to America he never once talked to his son, brother, or anybody about their foreign business deal.
Well, he said it, and then you found out it was absolutely untrue. Everything he says is untrue. There's never been a president like this. Look, he is a horrible president. He's destroying our country at the border. He's allowing millions of people to come in from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, which is a step above, a big step above a mental institution. He's allowing terrorists to flood into our country. And the numbers are probably 16, 17, or 18 million people. You're going to have over 20 million people, I think, I believe, and a lot of other people do, too, by the time he hopefully gets out. November 5th, Election Day, will be the most, and by the way, it starts on September 22nd. It starts earlier because of early voting. But November 5th will go down as the most important election in the history of our country. It's going to be the most important day and period in the history of our country.
Will you pledge to restore equal justice, equal application of our laws, end this practice of weaponization? Is that a promise you're going to make?
You have to do it. But it's awful. Look, I know you want me to say something.
No, I don't want you to say. I'm asking.
But I don't want to look naive.
I don't want
What they've done to the Republican Party, They want to arrest on no crime. They want to arrest the person that won the nomination in a landslide. It was nobody even close, in a landslide. The person that got millions of votes, more votes than any other sitting president in history in the last election. The person that won an election that he wasn't expected to win against Hillary Clinton in 2016. They want to arrest that person on no crime. They want to arrest, there was no crime. There was no criminality, there was no crime. And you can go back to all of these legal scholars. They can't believe what's happening. Some of them don't even like me, and they're saying this is a very, very dangerous thing that's happening. No, we can't let this happen. And I will do everything in my power not to let. But there's tremendous criminality here. What they're doing to me, if it's going to continue, we're really not going to have much of a country left. It is weaponization. You call it lawfare, you call it, some people call it just warfare. But it is weaponization of the election. And we're talking about, I think, the most important election in the history of our country. This will go down, I believe, as the most important election in the history of our country. We can't have this stuff go on. Because you know what? When Biden goes out, everyone says bye-bye, and then he gets indicted 2 days later, and they go after him. The country doesn't want that. And you know what? They didn't want it with Hillary Clinton either. I thought it was terrible. You know, I'd make a speech, everyone would say, lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. And I was at a UFC fight the other night with Dana White, who's a fantastic.
You got a terrible reception.
Yeah, better,
I did well. I'm kidding.
You better tell them.
I'm kidding. I'm not telling Dana that.
People don't understand sometimes sarcasm.
No, we played it. It was pretty overwhelming.
It was 25,000 people, whatever they had going. Absolutely. There wasn't a negative. But you know what? What I watched, and it was some of the fighters, two in particular, hated their opponent. And this went on for months. The fight, was broadcast out, and they announced the fight, and the hatred was real. It was the real deal. These people they have a lot of hatred, and they hate it. And then the fight ended, and they're hugging and kissing in the ring. They're down, sitting on they're hugging and kissing. It's like nothing happened. Happened on two fights. There was tremendous animosity between the two fighters and the other two fighters. And at the end, that's what happened. And in a certain way, after we won against Hillary, people would say, lock her up, lock her up. And I said, wouldn't it be terrible if I locked up the wife of the President of the United States, former, and locked up the former Secretary of State? It's a terrible thing. You're starting off, you want to bring the country together. I want to bring the country together. And success does bring the country together because we had the most successful economy in the history of our country just prior to COVID. And even at the end, I got it back. It was an amazing thing. But we had the most successful economy in history. And I was getting calls from radical left people wanting to meet. And I'm telling you, success, African-American, Asian-American, Hispanic-American, women, men, people with diplomas, people without diplomas, people that went to MIT, Harvard, and Wharton, people that didn't get out of high school. The most successful economy we've ever had. And people that I would say, you call them on the radical left, call it whatever you want, liberal people, progressive people, they were all calling, and they were saying, let's get together, this is amazing. Every single group, nobody has ever done better than during that period of time in my administration, during that period. And they wanted to get together, and it would have happened. We would have happened. It was really something. I'm not sure I would have been able to say to you that there was a way to unify. Success will unify, and I think we're going to have a tremendous success. We have to bring it back fast because this country we're a failing nation. We are really a failing nation right now. We're being laughed at all over the world.
So you saw that, you heard that, seemed to be a little bit more amped up. If I was to look at this, I would say Trump seemed to be a little bit more pissed in this case. Like you know what I'm trying to say, y'all? I mean, he's usually kind of always like that, but you just kind of see a little bit more spiciness or fieriness that's in him in this particular interview right here. Is it because he's like, yeah, this is what it should be. I'm winning because this is ridiculous. I mean, guys, come on, this nobody is able to explain what exactly it is that he did. Hush money. Bill Clinton had hush money. Did y'all know that we're not talking about Monica Lewinsky? The woman that Bill Clinton did this with even came out and showed the check that she received. But nobody got no smoke for him. Why President Trump? Neither one of them are presidents right now. President Bill Clinton is not the president. President Trump is not the president. President Joe Biden is the current president. President Clinton did the same thing that President Trump did, but nobody got no smoke for him. Huh? Anyway, folks, I just wanted to show you guys the video because I told you when I get it, if Fox and Friends or Newsmax or OAN, even CNN, if any of them say, hey, here goes a story, might be something you want to talk about on your channel, I will present it to you. But YouTube don't like me doing things like this. That's why you will see that number-wise, this video is probably only going to reach about 1,000 people, which if you look at my videos months ago, we were in the 10s, 20s, 30s, heck, even the 70s and 80s, thousands. Why? Because you really want to know why? Do you really want to know why? Because I'm not part of the agenda. I'm not part of the narrative. I'm not victim. I'm not crying racist. I'm not crying white supremacy is overtaking our lives. Interestingly enough, YouTube, you actually are the ones that are suppressing and oppressing this black man's voice. Nobody gets to hear me because of what you guys are doing. Anyway, I'm messing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what y'all think of this interview. Do you like the statements that Trump made? Do you think that Hannity pretty much was being biased or unbiased, or was he asking them fair questions? Whatever the case may be, make sure y'all leave it in the comments below after this video. And make sure you click this before you get out of here. And if you enjoyed my content like you claim you do, let one person in your cell phone contact list know about this channel. Encourage them to subscribe to the channel after checking it out, all right? Appreciate it. I am Ty Smith, Model Renaissance Man, and I hope and pray that every last one of you have food, shelter, and clothing. And most of all, I pray every last one of you guys are in great health mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. God bless you all through Jesus.